2, 3. I make believe you love me, baby. I make believe it's true. I make believe you care about what I do. But at the end of the day, I got to make believe blues.
I make believe we're happy. I make believe it's alright. I make believe I'm not lonely when I get home at night.
But at the end of the day, I got to make believe blues. Make believe, it's all I've got to do. You know I need your love, baby, but it's not for me to choose. You know it's all up to you to cure these make-believe blues. I've got to make you believe that I'm the one for you. That's what I hope to achieve before I'm through. You got me down on my knees with these make-believe blues. Won't you grant me a reprieve from these make-believe blues? If it was all up to me, I'd lose these make-believe blues.
Mr. Chip Arnold on the guitar.
Yeah, or something like that.
So we've been cooped up now for a couple of months, and what have you been doing? Are you feeling, you're feeling the same way we are, but what are you doing to escape?
Well, I've been really missing playing music. So we tried a couple of times to do rehearsals via Zoom and Facebook Live and those kind of things, but it just doesn't quite work. You're a little out of sync. Even more out of sync than we usually are.
Yeah, it's a little delay that we can't quite overcome. We have to anticipate what I can see what she's doing on the screen, but when I play, it comes in her ear like a stadium echo.
It's a little bit different, yeah. And
is.
you know, I've been trying to work the same thing out. There are products on the market that can make that work. They're a little bit out of my reach financially right now.
Yeah,
exactly.
no kidding,
Because I
right?
think we're all wishing for a lot more.
There are towns in western Massachusetts, in the valley of the Pioneer. When considering the rest, clearly Westview's the best, and we're happy to be living here. Yes, we're lucky to be living here. Happy birthday, Westfield, 3 1/2 centuries. That's a lot of history blowing with the breeze. Time has passed since the last big cake on the green. Let's make this celebration the best one ever seen. Sing
Now
with
all
us if you
together.
must. There are towns in western Massachusetts, in the valley of the Pioneer.
considering the rest, clearly Westfield is the best, and we're happy to be living here. Yes, we're happy to be living here.
Now, Marion, you mentioned the 350.
Yes.
And of course, that was a whole year celebration, and we all had a lot of fun.
It was great.
And lucky to be part of that.
Yeah.
Your collaboration with the Westfield Theater Group, and every time they do something, you and Kathy Palmer are writing stuff for that. How is that?
Well, it's just one of those things that it's magical. It works. She and I have been writing Christmas musicals together for 20 years. We celebrated this past December the 20th anniversary of our production of Christmas Carol. And the way it works is that Kathy comes up with an idea. She says, I have a story. In addition to Christmas, we've done Robin Hood, we've done Ichabod Crane's story, we've done another one that's escaping me. And she comes up with the story, and she says, I'm going to write the script, then we're going to get together, and I'm going to show you where the music goes. I said, okay. So she writes the script, we get together, we read it through, and the places where the music goes, and then she says, here, now it's your turn. And she turns it over to me, and somehow it all comes together, and it's been very well received. I mean, it's a labor of love. Chip plays in the pit band. Without Chip, we don't have a pit band, really.
I put the P in pits. Yeah.
There you go. And it's just one of those things that you don't know why it works, but it works. So we're going to play a song that was written for the 350th birthday of Westfield last year. We did a musical history of Westfield. Jay is waving at me through the window there. I assume you saw that show. Yeah? Thumbs up? 2 thumbs up. All right. So this song was written for a scene in this show that was honoring our veterans, men and women who have gone to serve in the armed forces from Westfield. And it's called Proud of You.
The acoustic guitar on in there, my brother. All right.
There is no way, no words will do. We can't explain our gratitude for all you've done when duty called. Oh, please believe we thank you all. You went away to serve this land, took tools of war into your hands with no complaint. Your sacrifice for small reward, you paid the price.
You went away, put on the uniform,
Marched in line
with others just the same.
became a soldier, sailor, or marine, and wondered at the person you became. There is no way, no words will do. We can't express our gratitude for all you've done when duty called. Oh, please believe we thank you all. You were always proud to serve America, and we were all to serve America, and we are always proud of you. And this is the month of Memorial Day, so again, thank you to all who have served and are serving.
While we have a moment, thank you to everybody, the frontline essential workers, healthcare workers, first offenders, yes, first responders that are helping us all get through
Hopefully
this
there
mess
are
that we
less
find
first
ourselves.
offenders
Yes.
in these times.
Well,
Yes.
you know, I'm not looking at anybody's rap sheet, but
No, not today.
we thank everybody that's
Not today.
helping us all get by.
Now, you picked up the electric and slid right into the blues so easily. Is there a reason that you and that guitar and the blues seem to sound so well together?
Well, I've played blues all my life since I started. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, and was surrounded by the likes of Furry Lewis and Mississippi Fred McDowell and folks like that. And before I even knew how to play, I was listening to those guys. And the blues progressions in general are fairly simple from a musical standpoint if you can feel what you're playing. And I play more by feel than anything else. Marion is a true musician. I just play most of it by ear. So I grew up trying to copy the likes of B.B. King, Albert King, those guys. The three kings in Memphis, Freddie, B.B., and Albert. And that had a big impact on my life.
Well, it's Friday night, and she's gone again. There's not a thing I can do. I'm wringing my hands, walking the floor, till I got holes in both of my shoes. Well, you know I'm losing sleep, but I keep on walking to me. Where she goes, I've got no clues. I'm so busy being lonely that I ain't got time for the blues. You know, once upon a time, I knew she was mine. We had a love that was brand new. Then things began to change. I just thought she was acting strange, till she up and told me we were through. To compound my misery, she swore it wasn't me, but I'm the one left paying the dues. We're so busy being lonely that I ain't got time for the blues. We've gone our separate ways, but I still recall the days when our love, it was front page news. And I'm still trying to understand her sudden change of plans. but I learned one thing is true.
It's true.
One day I realized even true love sometimes dies, and it was not for me to choose. I'm so busy being lonely that I ain't got time for the blues. Yes, I'm so busy being lonely that I ain't got time. No, I ain't got time. No, I ain't got time for the
I didn't know some of those notes could come out of that guitar.
Me either.
That's amazing. That was awesome.
My nephew, Will Arnold in Nashville, Tennessee, is an educator by trade, and he also builds guitars as electronic genius, and was at his house for a wedding years ago in Nashville, and he showed me this stash of Telecaster bodies and necks that he had, and he was building them, and it's a bolt-on neck. From a luthier standpoint, fairly simple to put the thing together. But about 2 years ago, he sent me an email of a picture of him holding out, a selfie of him holding the body of the guitar out. It said, "Guess who's making Uncle Chip a swamp ash telly?" And it took a while for him to get it, because he did it in his spare time. But he finally got together with me and said, "What do you want it to sound like?" I said, "Listen to the first Cornell Dupree album. If you can get a tone like that, I'm happy." And he came up with some 54-copy Seymour Duncan pickups, and he knew I needed a rosewood neck instead of maple, and we settled on some hardware, and there we go. So I actually had a Telecaster that I had customized over the years with upgraded hardware and pickups, and as soon as I got this one, I sold it because I didn't have enough room in the house for. There's only so many instruments you can have, so I sold it to a dear friend that plays in our church group, and have not touched another telly except this one.
This is another one of our songs called "Trying to Make It All Better." And that rarely works, but we keep trying.
Little country tune.
2, 3. Trying to make it all better after what we've just been through. Pouring spilled milk back in the bottle, putting toothpaste back in the tube.
Now true feelings can be elusive, especially when they're locked inside.
Sometimes just the right trigger, they come flowing out like the tide.
No, I wish I thought just a little more before opening up my mouth.
Now I've gone and done it, and my true love's headed south.
And we're trying to make it all
better after what we just been through. Spilled milk back in the bottle,
putting
toothpaste back in the tube. A wise man keeps his mouth shut, while the whole world suffers a fool. I should be arrested for the way I've treated you. But I
just had to tell you what was on my mind. Oh, I thought the better of it, but it's too late this time, and we're trying
to make it all better after what we've just been through. Like spilled milk back in the bottle,
putting
toothpaste back in the tube.
Now you can't unsay something once it's hurt somebody else.
They still have to live with it, even as you punish yourself.
And all the take-backs and do-overs you squandered as a kid can't undo the damage of a few words best kept hid. We're trying to make it all better after what we've just been through. Pouring spilt milk back in the bottle, putting toothpaste right back in the tube. Right back in the tube. Right back in the tube. Right back in the. My collaboration with Chip is one of those magical things that just works.
How did you two get started together?
We go to the same church, and about, I don't know, 20 years?
20 years ago, 19, 20 years, at least 20.
Yeah, so about 20 years ago, we had this little band that played in the church, and Chip at one point said, well, you know, I play a little guitar, maybe I could sit in with them. And we were like, okay, this is great. And we, as Chip said before, he let me sit in a little bit with a blues band that he was playing with and helped me learn the bass. And then we said, well, that band isn't working anymore, let's do a duo.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that for about 15 years,
Yeah,
maybe?
the real kicker for me was I went to the Stern Square Thursday evening concert, and Delbert McClinton was there, and lo and behold, I see Marion Dunk in this, and I said, you like Delbert? She goes, I'm crazy about it. And I started dropping a couple of names, Little Feat, this and that. She goes, oh, yeah. And that's all it took. I realized that we were kindred spirits and had not noticed it before, so.
It's all good.
This is a song called Bygones. It was written many moons ago as a duet, and lucky for me, it was already. Well, this is for Facebook.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right, song coming up is called Bygones, and it's usually the first thing you need to get rid of if you're ever going to heal a wound between two people in love.
Oh, what have I done to hurt you so bad? Spoiled all the fun, ruined what you've had. Perhaps I neglected the notice they signed, or I must have missed a big one this time. Was it something that you needed, or something that I've done, or little things repeated, all rolled up into one? Please know that I love you from the bottom of my heart. Let's let bygones be bygones for a start.
When people hurt each other, it's always a shame. Both pointing fingers, assigning the blame. What have you done to me lately is rarely the case. It's those old memories in your face.
Did we forget to remember what we were trying to forget? How can bygones be bygones if they haven't gone by yet? letting bygones be bygones is a start. Women are from Venus,
And all men are pigs.
or we get in trouble. The deeper down we dig,
Trying to discover
the source of all our pain. It's those bygones and bygones once again. Did we forget to remember what we were trying to forget? How can bygones be bygones if they haven't gone by yet? The first step to forgiveness is found within your heart. Letting bygones be bygones is a start.
The songs you played today, those were all originals? Those were all yours?
Yes.
What are there any stories behind those? I know you talked a little bit about it during the session, but give us a little background. What was the song? Start from the top. Do you remember what the first one was?
Oh man, you're quizzing me now. I don't know what was the first one we did?
I don't remember.
Oh, Table for One.
Oh, yeah.
Table for
Yeah,
One.
Table for
Yeah.
One.
That's sort of a prototypical Leon Redbone-ish chord progression. And I think of that song, I'm channeling New Orleans in the background. That the guitar solo should have been a cornet, et cetera, et cetera. And we should be at Jazz Fest today, too, by the way. I had to cancel our trip. But long story short, I used to travel a lot with my job. I had traveled the entire country, and I was always left to fend for myself at dinner time, and that was one of my favorite things to do, was find somewhere good to go and eat at the end of a long day, but was always by myself. And after a while, I just got a little tap on the shoulder in the middle of the night and said, hey, somebody says table for one, they're looking at you like kind of pitifully, and I go, yeah, unfortunately. So it just sort of wrote itself. Table for one, she said. I nodded my head, wishing that was not the case. And there's some hope in there too. It's you want to get together with the person, and at some point you'll be together, and there will be no more tables for one. So.
A table for one, she said. I nodded my head, wishing that was not the case. Yes, I'm alone, I said. She nodded her head, and I wondered if it showed on my face. All those lonely days spent thinking of you, all them Saturday nights with nothing to do. Someday we'll be together having so much fun, and there'll be no more tables for one, a table for two, 'cause I'm with you, that's what I'm dreaming about. I know you are too, and I'm so blue. Someday we're gonna jump and shout when we can be together anytime we like, and I can hold you close each and every night. Someday we'll be together and we'll walk in the sun, and there'll be no more tables for one.
I'm gonna be strong and carry on until the day our dreams come true. That we'll stroll along, arm in arm, every day just me and you. And we'll be together for the rest of our lives. And if I'm real lucky, maybe you'll be my wife. We'll live somewhere where they don't have no more tables for one. Yeah, we'll live somewhere where they don't have no more tables for one.
I got started, I was, I think, 12 years old, and I had gotten this little chintzy guitar that made my fingers bleed when I was about 10, so I didn't really play the guitar that much initially, but somebody gave me an auto harp. You know what an auto harp
I do. It had little push buttons on
Yeah,
it.
little
and-
push buttons. You push a button and you get a chord and you strum it with your fingers.
And I could
you
figure
can
out
too.
chords on
I
an
love
auto
them
harp.
things.
Yeah.
I still have it. It's like totally rotted because it was made of wood. Didn't stand up to time very well, but that was my first instrument. And I've been writing songs since I was about 12 years old. As I stand here today, I see everything has changed. All the plans that we made are completely rearranged. How was I to know how far this would go?
I thought I'd done everything. I thought I'd done something. But now I see I'd done nothing at all. I thought I had everything. I thought I had something. But now I see I had nothing at all my life, it's been me as the one to save the day. Why have I never felt I could live some other way? Fate has pulled me in. I can never win. I thought I knew everything. I thought I knew something. But now I know I knew nothing at all. I thought I had everything. I thought I had something. But now I know I had nothing at all.
Here I am, all alone, and there's nothing left to do. How I wish I had known what was false and what was true. It's too late for me. I'll go gracefully. I thought I knew everything. I thought I knew something. But now I know I knew
oddly enough, I too started when I was 12 years old. My sisters used to play, some kids in my neighborhood had instruments, drums, guitars, things like that. I never owned one, but found out from hanging at their houses, respectively, that I had a good ear and picked things up easily. So someone showed me how to play drums first and then bass, and they said, you have to think like a drummer to play bass properly. And I'm 12, 13 years old trying to play a bass with 2 strings on it. But long story short, my sister's boyfriend brought a guitar to the house to leave over there so he could play on weekends. And he said, feel free to play it. Showed me 4 or 5 simple chords and said, with these chords, you can play close to half the songs on the radio if you're really paying attention. Or a variation. So once he taught a bar chord, so C became D or E flat, I was off to the races. And play several different instruments, none of them that well, but predominantly guitar, harmonica, and piano.
He's got it. Retrieved it.
I had to retrieve it from the
Retrieve it
attic
from the
into the
cerebellum.
front room, and that's okay if everybody hears that out there in radio land. But
Yeah.
Pardon me, and I hope I'm not interrupting. This won't take too long. I just came to tell you that I'm leaving. Well, I don't know, just where I'm going, or what I'm gonna do. I guess I'll have to make it on my own. All love don't last forever unless it's from the heart. But it can surely make you act a fool. Sometimes, you try to say something, and it don't come out right. You hurt the one that means the most to you. Won't you pardon me for the things I never gave you? Oh, won't you pardon me for never making you my wife? Won't you pardon me for the things I never said when I had time to? Oh, won't you pardon me for the rest of my life? Pardon me, but is that a ring on your finger? I kind of thought it was. And I hope you're happy with your someone new. Well, sometimes, I still think about you. Oh, there's nothing I can say. Pardon me for caring, 'cause I still do. Won't you pardon me for the things I never gave you? Oh, won't you pardon me for ever making you my wife? Won't you pardon me for the things I never said when I had time to? Oh, won't you pardon me? Oh, won't you pardon me for the rest of my life?
It doesn't have to be hundreds. It could be 5 or 10 or 20
Yeah.
or 30. We don't really care.
Yeah.
It's just we play for the joy of playing, and if
Yep.
people like what we're doing, that's a bonus, you know?
Exactly.
As we like to say, we're playing without a net, because when we come out, there's two of us, and we're doing Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young tunes with two voices and a guitar and a bass. So you have to just imagine the steel guitar and all that stuff. But, you know, we make our mistakes, but we're doing it from the heart, and we just hope people have as much fun listening as we do playing.
Good morning from New York.
Good evening from LA.
Though they're so far apart, it's just another day.
They don't know where to start.
They sure don't know what to say.
With love burning in their hearts, they're the keepers of the flame. The keepers of the flame are half a world apart again. With love that has no shame, keeping them together. Another lonely day, seeming like forever. No, they're not giving in. They're the keepers of the flame. Every time he picks up the phone, he hears her voice again. Every time she turns out the light, she sees his face. The time is getting together so right, somehow worth it all. No, they're not giving in. They're the keepers of the flame. Love light shining in the dark to chase away the emptiness. No time they spend apart, they're together just the same. They live on memories, lying in each other's arms. No, they're not giving in. They're the keepers of the flame. No, they're not giving in. They're the keepers of the flame. No, they're not giving in. They're the keepers of the flame. Good morning from New York.
Play it all night long. It's just one chord, so we don't get it wrong. We call this our Soundcheck Song.
This is the Soundcheck Song. I'm gonna play it all night long. It's one chord so he don't get it wrong. Call this a Soundcheck Song.
This is still the Soundcheck Song. Second verse is like the first. I hope it just don't get much worse. This is still our Soundcheck Song. We good?